We are just hours away from the Season 3, Episode 10 finale of Picard, and what we are fairly sure will be the finale for the series itself. Though let's face it, you never can tell what may happen. We're now going to get a Section 31 movie rather than a series. But for now, it's the finale of a story told about one of the most beloved captains in Trek history, and for that alone, it gained quite a following. While people have had issues with each season, I'd have to say Season 3 is one we can all agree has been wonderful. Maybe darker and a bit fast-paced, but that just means it's worth a rewatch to catch any bits missed. But overall, this season has been exactly as promised, a nostalgic reunion with a new adventure full of Trek past involving more than just our TNG crew. The representation has been phenomenal, and really there has been a little something for fans of each series. But yes, this has most definitely been a next generation season, which only leads us to one real question: what's next? Well, when it comes to this final episode of the two-part finale, we know one thing for sure: nobody dies. At least according to Jonathan Frakes, who may tease, but really, killing off any more main characters at this point wouldn't be for the sake of the story. We already got a nice dose of unexpected death with Tavine and Captain Shaw, and I'll admit I didn't expect to see Vadic floating away so soon either, but I didn't mind. Oh, and I should say that apparently when it comes to Shaw, death may not have ended his story. But at the very least, we won't be losing any of our TNG cast or the probable cast of Star Trek Legacies. Because if we all say it enough, it will happen. I can prove it. But not until the end of the video. Sadly, there is nothing official in the works for that spin-off, but it's still early. Now let's talk about the Borg. They seem to pop up everywhere, so I shouldn't have been as surprised as I was to see that was what was behind the door. What can I say? I was expecting something less predictable, but I was expecting something less obvious with Jack's parentage as well, so that's on me. However, these Borg are a mess, and yes, voiced by Alice Krige, our first contact queen, but Jane Edwina Seymour is the body double filling in for her physically. As our first contact queen died some time ago, perhaps this was done for continuity. It's one thing to have Alice come and play another character, it's a whole nother to have her play her dead self. Having her there might just be one plot line the writers didn't want to have to dig themselves out of. But how much we will see of Jane, or what more Alice has to say as the Queen, is yet to be known. All we do know is with the confirmation from Terry that the Borg are in a sad state, we can infer that this entire action of partnership was taken for survival. I still stand by my earlier assessment during a conversation with Paradox State 5018 in the comments that the changelings were not assimilated and this is a partnership. Yes, obviously some technology was exchanged to facilitate communications, nanoprobes most likely, and while this partnership may be one in which the Borg have more power, as the changelings are outliers, Vadic's motives were obviously her own, so it seems to me this is a team-up conjured by simple and plain convenience and need, not force, which assimilation implies. As for who else may pop up before this ride is over, well, I still hope after all is said and done they pop in for a drink at Quark's and run into Kira. But that's a pipe dream and I know it. I really have no problem with being wrong though, so, great Trek deity, let's go to Quark's.
Come to Quark's. Quark's is fun. Come right now. Don't walk. Run!
As for other players, well, there is a high probability we will get a Seven and Tuvok reunion. And wouldn't that be just wonderful? Tim Russ is fantastic, and in fact is one of the best smiles and laughs during panels and interviews. Almost makes me sad he's playing a straight-faced Vulcan. Almost. And if we're going to have Tuvok, I suppose it's possible Admiral Janeway could show up as well. But really, once Starfleet is saved, it's anyone's guess who could show up. After all, who wouldn't have shown up for the 250th anniversary of Frontier Day? Even the wanted criminals came. The good news is we have mere hours to wait, and while I'm posting this with very little time for views, I just wanted one final say about the show before we got our answers. And once that finale airs, the Dyslexic Trekkie and I will be having a live chat about Picard, the finale, and probably more because we are literally sisters who grew up with Trek, and we do get to talking. Can't be helped. So keep an eye out for the link to that in my posts, and check out the Dyslexic Trekkie's channel as well. She breaks down classic Trek and gives insights to characters and episodes and even how they could have been done better. Check her out. And now, once upon a time in 1984-ish. So when I was about 9, I asked my mother when Star Trek would have some new episodes. I had all of them memorized by this point. Of course, my mom told me the truth. Star Trek is an older show and they stopped making it before I was born. Reminder, this was the early 80s. Mad as I was, I did have a plan. Because I was 9, and I had birthday wishes, and I could wish upon a star. Yeah, I really did that. First star I saw each night, made a wish. I was going to make this happen. Now, I'm not saying I actually made the next generation happen on a child's hope, but I don't think it hurt, and that was long before you could openly share your hope with the people who actually make the shows. So, don't stop wishing, tweeting, posting on whatever social networking site you love best to make legacies happen. Just keep the hope going, and you never know what you might find. And until then, please enjoy some more Trek here, and I'll see you there.